In case anyone was wondering why I had time off, it wasn't because I didn't want to read Twilight. It was because I'm doing an illegal activity that people keep telling me about. Because I'm reading Twilight cover to cover, peeps. And this bad boy, I had to go into hiding. I had to go on the run for 3 days. But now, I might have hit the road, but where we left off, we might hit a road because Bella has been offered a lift by Edward Cullen. We are 73 pages in, and pretty much nothing has happened as of yet, apart from that Edward Cullen's really fit, and he's offered her a lift. Even though she keeps saying that her track's like way better than like what she thought, but who are we to judge Bella? Chapter 5, Blood Type. I think we're going to get into the vampire stuff here. This is an Audible production. I made my way to English in a daze. I didn't even realise when I first walked in that class had already started. Thank you for joining us, Miss Swan, Mr. Mason said in a disparaging tone. I flushed and rushed to my seat. It wasn't until class ended that I realised Mike wasn't sitting in his usual seat next to me. I felt a twinge of guilt. But he and Eric both met me at the door as usual, so I figured I wasn't totally unforgiven. Mike seemed to become more himself as he walked, gaining enthusiasm as he talked about the weather report for this weekend. The rain was supposed to take a minor break, and so maybe his beach trip would be possible. I tried to sound eager and make up for disappointing him yesterday. It was hard, rain or no rain. It would still only be in the high 40s if we were lucky. High 40s, so 69 Fahrenheit, oi oi, is nice weather. So 20 less than nice. That's how we're dealing with that. So that's like what, 10 degrees in like normal weather? That's okay. Just wear a hat. We'll be fine. The rest of the morning passed in a blur. It was difficult to believe that I had just imagined what Edward had said and the way his eyes had looked. Maybe it was just very convincing dream and I had confused myself with reality. It seemed more probable that I already appealed to him on any level. So Bella does not have any self-esteem, we've learned here, even though she's like categorized being like, nah, I'm better than like anyone else in this school. But when it comes to Edward Cullen, shy. Interesting. I was impatient and frightened. As Jessica and I entered the cafeteria, I wanted to see his face, to see if he'd gone back to the cold, indifferent person I'd known for the last several weeks. Or if, by some miracle, I had really heard what I thought I'd heard this morning. Jessica babbled on and on about her dance plans. Lauren and Angela had asked the other boys if they were all going together, completely unaware of my inattention. So wait, is she literally just like, God, did he really offer me a lift? Is this what she's like? Not like he's asked her to the dance. Just like he's offered her a lift. She's like, oh, I can't believe someone would offer me a lift. Oh, I can't believe. Oh, how could anyone offer me a lift if not Edward Cullen? Team Wolf. Disappointment flooded through me as my eyes unerringly focused on his table. The other four were there, but he was absent. Had he gone home? I followed him. I followed the still babbling. She's obsessed with this man. She's obsessed. She's just like I just need to know like where he, like I need to know where he is like every single moment, like every single time. Like that's not healthy. That can't be healthy. I still followed. I'd lost my appetite. I brought nothing but a bottle of lemonade. I wanted to go sit down and sulk. I think the saddest moments in life is where you have to sit down and sulk with lemonade. If it was Coke, you couldn't sulk with a Coke. You couldn't sulk with a Mountain Dew. But just like a bottle of lemonade, wow, I've seen people in bad states with lemonade, like under their arms, like just sticky, clear mess all over the floor. Just an absolute, like a flood of lemonade. And that's when you know people, like you've hit rock bottom, is when the lemonade starts coming out. Jack and Coke, that's fine. A bit of Sprite, whoa, hold up, partner. Let's get you some help. Edward Cullen is staring at you again, Jessica said, finally breaking through my abstraction with the name. Calm down. I wonder why he's sitting alone today. My head snapped up. I followed her gaze to see Edward smiling crookedly. That's all the fit boys. That's how I got all the ladies in school. Didn't get it. Once he caught my eye, he raised one hand and motioned with his index finger. Raised one hand, motioned with his index finger for me to come join him. I stared. How did you? I know people are gonna, but it's the fact that he didn't raise his finger, didn't do there, raised his hand. Say, come here, come here. That's beautiful. Does he mean you? Said Jessica. Yeah, Jessica. Like, have some faith in your friends, mate. Maybe he needs help with biology homework, I muttered in for her benefit. Better go see what he wants. Swanking attitude. I could feel her staring at me after I walked away. When I reached his table, I stood behind the chair across from him, unsure. Why don't you sit down with me today? He asked, smiling. I sat down automatically. Well, he didn't, because he had to tell you. You sat down promptedly. You didn't automatically do that. He told you. Watching him, of course, and he was still smiling, so it was hard to believe that someone so come and sit down, and then just still. That's really how. If I had known this, if I had this information in high school, wouldn't even know who I was today. This is different, I finally managed. Well, he paused, and the rest of the words followed in a rush. And as long as I was going to hell, I might as well do it thoroughly. Okay, Dante's Inferno. I waited for him to say something that made sense. Seconds ticked by. You know, I don't have any idea what you mean, I eventually pointed out. I know. He smiled again. The passive aggressive of you is wild. What's the point? What's the point of any of this? Like, Stephanie Meyer's having a whale of a time just like beefing out dialogue. They'll survive. I could feel the stares pouring into my neck. I may not give you back, though, he said with a wicked glint in his eyes. I gulped. He laughed. You look worried. Yes, Edward, because you just threatened, like, kidnapping. That's a normal response. No, I said, but ridiculously, my voice broke. Oh, hang on, we've hit puberty. Surprise, actually. Oh, wrong all is on. That's how she speaks from now on. I told you, I got tired of trying to stay away from you, so I've given up, he said, smiling. But his ochre eyes seemed serious. What a fun use of Pantone colours. Given up, I repeated in confusion. Yes, given up trying to be good. I'm just going to be 100% bad boy. I'm just going to do what I want now. I let the chips fall where they may. His smile faded. A hard edge crept into his voice. So she's hit puberty and he's got like a frog in his throat at this conversation. You've lost me again. The breathtaking crooked smile reappeared. Oh my god, make up your mind, Stephanie Meyer. Like, I think Stephanie Meyer, similar to Daniel Green in his stupid novels, both don't know that people could just like you could just have dialogue. They don't have to like constantly be doing something. I always say too much. But yeah, I came with Daniel Green in Twilight. Come at me. I always say too much when I'm talking to you. That's one of the problems. Don't worry, I understand. I don't understand any of it. I said, Riley, I'm counting on there. So, in plain English, are we friends now? Friends? He mused, dubious or not. He grinned. We can try, I suppose. I mean, sometimes when I'm making friends with someone, I'm like, do I like have a trial period of this? And they're like, oh yeah, you can have your money back after 90 days. Oh no. We can, I suppose. But I'm warning you now, I'm not a good friend. Behind his smile, the warning was real. I want this book to be so over. I was chapter 5 and I'm done. I'm done. Can I throw in the towel? Like, why are we? This is gonna go on. This like, will we, won't we be friends? Is gonna be over the 70 pages. No. What am I doing with my life? What am I doing? I have responsibilities. I pay tax. Is this literally all the chapter's going to be? We'll find out together, won't we, peeps? You say a lot, I noted. That's all these people do. Trying to ignore the sudden trembling in my stomach. That's the lemonade talking there. And keep my voice even. Yes, because you're not listening to me. I'm still waiting for you to believe it. If you're smart, you will avoid me. I think you've made your opinion on the subject of my intellect clear too. My eyes narrowed. These people just don't like each other. They don't like each other. Like, this is just clear. Like, you're not in the rodeo. Like, you don't have to go on the ball. You don't have to be friends. You sit next to each other in biology. You know, you could just live your life just knowing that you know each other. I remember, like, I think last chat I mentioned, like, Alicia, who I sat next to in history, found out she's still alive. That's all I needed to know. I was like, oh, she posted a photo like 4 months ago. She might be dead in that time, but you know, for the purposes of this video, Alicia's fine and dandy, peeps. That's it. That's all I need to know about Alicia. She'll go off on her way. I'll go off on my way. If we bump into the street and go, wow, remember the one we sat next to history? She'd be like, yeah. And I'll be like, wow, great. Have a good one, mate. This is all these people need to do. We could close Twilight now. We don't need 3 other books. We don't need the rest of this book. That's it. Like, we don't need any more. So, as long as I'm not being not smart, we'll try to be friends. He offered you a lift in the. Could you imagine if this is the interaction you had to have with an Uber driver? You'd never download the app again. You'd be like, let's delete that. I'll go. I'll walk. This is. Is this what YA? Is this like the pinnacle of YA? Because people are like, oh, it's amazing. I know people like swoon over it. It's like very nostalgia. But like, if this is what YA books are, why are people reading them? If you are a YA teen, go wild. Like, you enjoy yourselves. But this is just like infuriatingly, to speak bluntly, this is painstakingly boring. There's nothing in the 76 pages that I have read. I've read half a page and I'm done. I am so done with Twilight that I am dreading that somehow Stephanie Meyer has dragged out of her bleeding esophagus, because there's got to be some like demon in her that made her like project this onto a page for extra 300 pages. I don't understand the appeal. I thought it would be like a little bit twee. I thought it was going to be a little bit like like a bit like, whoa, do you love me? Like, oh, I don't know. Whoa. That's not what's happening. That's not what's happening. I it's this is just it's just two people who are like, should we be friends? No. Well, maybe we should. Yeah. I can't. What's the point? What does she get in the car with him? Does she go to Seattle to look at clothes? Do you know what? That's the subplot I'm more interested in now than does Edward Cullen like want to be friends, because he's like, he doesn't want to be friends. He doesn't want to be friends. She's like, well, if I did, or if I was, or maybe if I play stupid, we can be friends. Why? You're in biology. You're like top of the class, both of you. Both of you are at the top of your class. Sit down, double down on what you're good at, because you're clearly not good with interaction. So let's just cut out all the interaction and just focus on the topic at hand. If you understand the mitosis stage of the onion, you can't hold a decent conversation, then something's gone wrong. Something's gone wrong. Okay? I've said it. I've said it. I think you made your opinion on my intellect too clear. We've already spoken about this. What do you think? And he asked curiously. Oh my god, you've just decided that you'll be friends if both of you act stupid. Why are we drawing this conversation out? Why are we drawing this conversation out? His jaw tightened, but he kept his smile in place with some effort. Physical impossibility. This is a smile. Tighten your jaw. This is stupid. Are you having any luck with that? He said in an offhanded tone. Not too much, I admitted. Oh my god, I can't explain the volatile distaste. There's bile in my body. If this was the 18th century, they would have tried to exhume my blood with leeches. They'd be like, this guy's clearly like he's on a paddy, this one. And I'd be leeched up, being like, just take me now. I am done. I can't deal with this conversation any longer. It has been 70 pages and we have learned nothing. Bella and Ed. I'm not even going to call you Edward. I don't care. We're on first name basis. I'm shortening your name. Your name's L. Ed and Bell. Oh my god, just get through it, Kira. Just get you've read. Have I read worse? I don't think I've purposefully decided to read worse. I've read things that are like surprisingly horrendous. But this is just like, I need lemonade. I feel like Bella. I just want to sit down and just like drown myself in Sprite. I want to drown myself in Sprite so that I see the light. And when I reach the pearly gates of heaven, they'll be like, "Oh, mate, you did the right thing," because this is going on for like 300 pages. Oh my god, why is this book infuriating me so much? It's because they're not saying anything. This is literally. He chuckled. What are your theories? Oh my god, you are not Aquinas. I blushed. I have been vacillating during the last month between Bruce Wayne and Peter Parker. We're getting rid of a page. Just one theory. I won't laugh. Oh my god, I've ripped out a page. And we're still talking about the theories. He looked down and glanced up at me through long black lashes. Are great. In the meantime, he's put on fake lashes. Please, he breathed. I blinked. What? Please tell me one little theory. His eyes smoldering at me. Well, I was bitten by a radioactive spider. Shut up. Is this the caveat we are going down? Is this the caveat we are going down? Okay, Stephanie Meyer, we somehow have moved into remediation of text. You're not Danielewski. Stop. That's not creative, he scoffed. That's all I got, I said, miffed. Let me just gag on that word. You're not close. There's no spiders. No. And there's no radioactivity. I'll figure out eventually, I warned. I wish you wouldn't try. He was serious. I'm not a superhero. What if I'm the bad guy? He smiled. Oh, I said, as several things he hinted suddenly fell into place. Do you? His face was abruptly severe, like really abrupt. As if he was afraid he had spoken too much. This is all they haven't spoken too much. They've actually said absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. He said, "Nothing. You're dangerous, I guess." And my pulse quickened as I intuitively realized the truth of my own words. He was dangerous. He'd been trying to tell me that all along. He just looked at me, his eyes full of some emotion I could not comprehend behind the ochre eyes. I am not bad, I whispered, shaking my head. I don't believe you are bad. They're in a cafeteria. How long do you have on break? Mate, this was my school. You'd have Mini Lurch. Okay, just give you some lore. Old head teacher, Mr. Jones, really tall, Lurch. His wife was like 4'9", Mini Lurch. Mini Lurch would be like, she does really high pitched voice, and she couldn't scream. So it would always be a whisper. She'd be like, "Edward Cullen, you get to your classes now." That's how Mini Lurch would be. Mini Lurch told me off once because I told my mate that he'd stood in poo, and I got detention. Mate, it was rough. You're wrong. His voice was almost inaudible. You're wrong. You're wrong. Oh, his voice was almost inaudible. He looked down, stealing my bottle lid, and spin it on his fingers. The lemonade. The lemonade's a metaphor. I stared at him, wondering why I didn't feel afraid. Oh, he's going to do a trick shot. Shut up. Have you seen Dude Perfect? It's probably before your time, actually. I felt anxious, on edge, more than anything. Well, I was fascinated. Whoa, it's as if Bella can't make up her mind about every single thing. She's like, oh, I feel really scared, but somehow I'm really intrigued. She's like, I'm really sad, but I'm just going to like smile and skip my way through my life. These kids need to sit down. We're going to be late. Not if I'm... I'm not going to class today, he said, twirling so fast that it was a blur. Why not? It's healthy to ditch class now and then, he smiled. Well, I'm going. It's cool to stay in school, peeps. It is cool to stay in school. He turned his attention to the makeshift top. I'll see you later then. I hesitated, torn. Why, Natalie Imbruglia? Stop. I don't care. You want to take one piece from the box, he said. Produce a pair of rubber gloves. I don't care. I don't care. I've lost my way. I'm just going to skip a page. Wow, you're green, Bella. Well, hold on. Let's go back. I think we've missed a bit there. Mr. Banner, I want to take one piece from the box, he said as he produced a pair of rubber gloves from the box. She's in green. I'm interested. Do you know what, Stephanie Meyer? Let's go back. This better be worth it. The sharp sound as the gloves snapped into place against his wrists. It seemed ominous to me. The first should be an indicator card, he went on, grabbing a white card with all 4 squares marked on it and displaying it. The second is 4-pronged applicator. He held up something that looked like a nearly toothless hairpin. And the third is a sterile micro lancet and held up a piece of blue plastic and split it open. The barb was visible from the distance, but my stomach flipped. Lemonade for you, mate. I'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. Sorry. I'll be coming round with a dropper of water. Don't know where that happened. I'll be coming round with a dropper of water to prepare your card. So please do not start until I get to you, he began. And then I want to carefully prick your finger with a lancet. He grabbed Mike's hand and jabbed it into the tip of Mike's middle finger. Oh no, clammy moisture broke up against my forehead. Put a small drop. You're not allowed to do this in schools. The teacher's just allowed to just like prick your finger. This is not real. I mean, it's more fathomable than the conversations they've had. Apply it to the card. Oh, she's green because of the blood. Oh, she's going to be a vampire at the end. Oh, it's a character development arc. The Red Cross is having a blood drive in Port Angeles, blah, blah, blah. Are you feeling fate? Yes, sir, I muttered. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, she's green because of the prick we've got there. I think she fainted. I don't know what happened. She didn't even stick her finger. Bella, Edward's voice was right behind me, relieved now. Can you hear me? No, I groaned. Go away, he chuckled. I was taking her to the nurse, Mike explained in a defensive tone, but she wouldn't go any further. I will take her, Edward said, and I could hear his smile still in his voice. You can't do that. You can't hear a smile in someone's voice. You liar, you fool. You plank. You can hear the smile. You can see the smile. You can't hear a smile. You ding dong. Put me down. Please let me vomit on him. That's just like a side. He was walking away before I finished talking. Hey, Mike called, already 10 paces behind us. Edward ignored him. You look awful, he said. Put me back on the sidewalk, I moaned. The rocking motions of his walk was not helping. He held me from his body gingerly. I take offense to that. Supported by all my weight. You faint at the sight of blood, he asked. This seemed to entertain him. I didn't answer. I closed my eyes again and fought the nausea with all my strength, clamping my lips together. It's not even your own blood, he continued. Sorry, Edward. I didn't realize we were like gatekeeping blood. He's a vampire, so technically, I suppose he can. I don't know. I've never read the job description of a vampire, so send me email in bio. Oh my, I heard a female voice gasp. Oh my! She fainted in biology, Edward explained. I opened my eyes. I was in the office, and Edward was striding past the front counter in the nurse's door. Mrs. Cope, the red-headed front office receptionist, ran ahead of him to hold it open. The grandmotherly nurse looked up from the novel, astonished, as Edward swung me into the room and placed me gently on the crackly paper. Good Welsh word. That's a good Welsh word. Crackly paper. Crackly paper that covered a brown vinyl mattress on the one cot. But then he moved to stand as far away from me as possible. His eyes were bright, excited. She's just a little faint, he reassured the nurse. They're blood typing in biology. There's always one. He muffled a snicker. like, oh, wait till I reveal this revolution to you, Bella Swan. Does it happen a lot? Sometimes, I admitted. Edward coughed to hide another laugh. You can go back to class now. I'm supposed to stay with her, he said. I'll go and get some ice for your forehead, dear, she said to me, and then bustled out of town. You were right, I moaned. I usually am. And what about this? But what about in particular this time? Ditching is healthy. I practice breathing. I don't care. This is the moral that Stephanie Meyer wants to teach kids. Poor Mike, I bet he's mad. He loathes me, Edward said cheerfully. Oh, he loathes me, he said cheerily. You can't know that, I argued, and then wondered suddenly if he could. I saw his face. I could tell. How did you see me? I thought you were ditching. I was almost, yeah, Edward. What were you doing staring at me through the window, you ding-dong? I feel as though the use of ding-dong is going to go up in the series. I was in my car. Listening to a CD. Losers. He didn't say losers. It was such a normal response that it surprised me. Oh, yeah, that's what all the kids were doing when they were ditching class. Oh, hey, Clive, do you want to go into the Ford Focus? I have a brand new CD. Oh, chin chin, lad. Let's listen to Sibelius. We'll do Sibelius CD. I'm not sure why he's listening to classical, but just go with it. Here you go, my dear. The nurse laid something across my forehead. You are looking much better. I think I'm fine, I said, sitting up. Just a little ringing in my ears. There's no spinning, and the mint green walls stayed where they should. Well, that was easy. That was the quickest appointment there, but it's in America, so I bet the insurance is rough on there. I could see that she was going to lie me back down, but the door opened and Miss Cope stuck her head in. We've got another one, she cried. She would. I hopped down to free up the cot, and just like the idea that she's just like the little cot going, "Wow, I'm afraid of blood." People can't smell blood. I smelled blood, I said, wrinkling my nose. People can't smell blood, he contradicted. Well, I can, Ed. That's what makes me sick. It smells like rust and salt. He was staring at me with unfathomable expression. What? I asked. It is nothing. Mike came through the door, glanced at me and Edward, and the look he gave to Edward confirmed that Edward said nothing about is what he didn't like him. Let's not even like correct the sentence. He doesn't like him. Not many people do. You look better, he accused. It's not her fault. Just keep your hand in your pocket. That is literally a line. I mean, it's very similar to a line that Tommy Wiseau says. Keep your comments in your pocket in the room. It's grand. I think I got a... Have I showed this? Oh no, which was it? Oh. I got a signed copy of The Room. I met Tommy Wiseau and he wanted to buy my backpack off me for 100 quid. I wish I took it back in the day. And I got him to say, I'll put it in the Discord if I can find it. I asked him if he could do, "You're tearing me apart, Lisa." I'm not sure why he turned into Super Mario. But he did. And I got that on film. You're welcome. It's not bleeding anymore, he muttered. Are you going back to class? Well, are you kidding? I just have to turn around and come back. Yeah, well, are you going this weekend to the beach? He spoke. He flashed another glare toward Edward, who was standing against the cluttered counter, motionless as a sculpture, staring off into space. We're meeting at my dad's store at 10. He flickered his eyes toward Edward again. He hasn't left his eyes. Wondering if he was giving too much information. His body language made it clear that it wasn't an open invitation. I'll be there, I promised. I'll see you in gym then, he said, moving uncertainly towards the door. See you, I replied. He looked at me once more, his round face slightly pouting. Then, as he walked away through the door, his shoulders slumped. A swell of sympathy washed over me. Not empathy. Sympathy. Just remember that, people. Heartless. But then what do you expect when someone's afraid of blood? There's nothing circulating. That's why the emotion of Plank can't leave her face. She's just like all the way through this Twilight. I pondered seeing his disappointed face again in gym. And then she goes on to say, "Jim," I groaned. I could take care of that. I hadn't noticed Edward moving towards my side, but he spoke now in my ear. Go and sit down and look pale. Oh, let me just feign anemia for people. Shut up. I heard Edward speak in across the counter. Miss Cope? Yes. I hadn't heard her return to the desk. Bella has gym next hour. I don't think she feels well enough. Actually, I was thinking maybe I should take her home now. Do you think you could excuse her from class? His voice was like melting honey. I can imagine how much more overwhelming his eyes would be. He's all flirting with her. Oh, hi, Miss Combe. Do you think like Bella should go home? I mean, I don't. Maybe that's how I flirt. You know, top G alpha male right here, peeps. You're welcome. I'm not going to give you all my tips away. Buy Bitcoin. I got a podcast. There you go, done. What more? How much more alpha male top G can I get? Oh, okay, it's all taken care of. You feel better, Bella. She called to me. I nodded I, I nodded weakly, hamming it up a bit. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm feigning anemia for this. Oh my god. Oh god. Oh god. Thanks. What's the... Oh, are you going this Saturday? I was hoping he would, though it seemed unlikely. I couldn't picture him loading up the carpool with the rest of the kids from school. He didn't belong in the same world. Well, he does. It's just Washington State. Where are you going exactly? Down to La Pouche. To First Beach. I studied his face trying to read it. His eyes seemed to narrow infinitesimally. I don't think I was invited. Well, I just invited you. What's wrong? Let you and I not push poor Mike any further this week. I don't want him to snap. Mike Schmike, I muttered. Ooh, get the claws away, Bella, you catty girl. I muttered, preoccupied by the way he said you and I. I liked it more than I should. Where do you think you're going? He asked, outraged. He was gripping a fistful of my jacket in one hand. I'm going home? You're crossing some boundaries, mister. Didn't you hear me promise to take you home safely? Do you think I am going to let you drive in this condition? His voice was still indignant. Mate. What condition? What about my truck? I'll have Alice drop her off later to school. He was towing me towards his car now, pulling me by my jacket. It was all I could do to keep from falling backwards. He probably just dragged me along anyway. Let go, I insisted. Damn, you hold your ground, Bella. He ignored me. I staggered along sideways across the wet sidewalk till we reached the Volvo. He finally freed me. I stumbled against the passenger door. You were so pushy, I grumbled. No, he's so pulley. It's... Oh, Lord. Oh, if you hear me now, Lord, help me. It's open, was all he responded. He got in the driver's side. I am perfectly capable of driving myself home. I stood up. He lowered the automatic window and leant forward towards me. Get in, Bella! I didn't answer. I was mentally calculating my chances of reaching the truck before he could catch me. I had to admit, well, they weren't good. Well, at least she's done her odds. I'll drag you back, he threatened, guessing my plan. I tried to maintain what dignity I could as I got into the car. Why are teens reading this? This is where you get... So, I've watched Love Island. I've watched Married at First Sight. This is where you get the relationships of, like, people feel the need to, like, really, like, push people away and be like, no, come into my arms so I can love you. And just like, that's not how, like, this isn't how the real world operates. It's this like vague, like, oh, I think this is how people do it, and you just have like these really like bizarre interactions. People like, let me love you, as they're like punching through glass, being like, love me, and you're like, that's not normal. Like, this isn't fine. This isn't fine. And I bet Bella Swan's going to love this. She's going to be like, oh, baby, so strong. Guarantee. This was completely unnecessary, I said stiffly. He did not answer. He fiddled with the controls, turning the heater up and music down. As he pulled out to the parking lot, I was prepared to give him the silent treatment, my face in full pout mode. But then I realised the music was playing, and the curiosity got my better of my intentions. Claire de Lune, I asked. I said Sibelius. He listens to the pussy. I knew it, mate. I know the story. Did you know? I'm legit proud of myself for this. Not well, I admitted. My mother plays a lot of the classical music around the house. I know my favourites. I only know my favourites. Well, it would be weird if you didn't know your favourites, you ding dong. It's one of my favourites too. He stared out through the rain, lost in thought. I listened to the music. Okay. Relaxing against the light grey leather seat, it was impossible not to respond to the familiar soothing melody. The rain blurred everything outside into the grey and green smudges. I began to realise we were driving very fast. The car moved so steadily, so evenly, though I didn't feel the speed. Only the town flashing by as it gave away. What's your mother like? He asked me suddenly. I glanced over to him, studying me with curious eyes. She looks a lot like me, but she is prettier, I said. He raised his eyebrows. I have too much Charlie in me. Okay. She's slightly more outgoing than I am, and braver. She's irresponsible and slightly eccentric, and she's a very unpredictable cook. She is my best friend, I stopped. Talking about her was making me depressed. How old are you, Bella? That's not good if we're in the same class, isn't it? That's a bit concerning. Be a bit like, well, it's only about maybe 1 year in it from yours, and it's either the same age as you, or a little bit older, or a little bit younger. I am 17, I responded, a little confused. You don't seem 17. That could go two ways. His tone was reproachful. It made me laugh. What? He said. My mum always said I was born 35 years old and that I get more middle-aged every year. I laughed and then sighed. Well, someone has to be an adult. I paused for a second. You don't seem much like a junior in high school. He made a face, changed the subject. Why did your mother marry Phil? I was surprised he would remember the name. I mentioned it just once, almost 2 months ago. It took me a moment to answer. My mother, she's very young for her age. I think Phil makes her feel even younger. At any rate, she's crazy about him. I shook my head. The attraction was a mystery to me. Do you approve? Does it matter? I want her to be happy, and he is who she wants. Well, that is very generous. I wonder, he mused. What? Would she extend the same courtesy to you, do you think, no matter who your choice was? He was suddenly intent and eyes searching mine. I think so, I stammered. She is a parent after all, so it's a little bit different. No one too scary then. How many pages do I have? One more. We got this. Not that I'm counting down. It's just time goes time flies by when you have fun. And with Twilight, you rip out a page. It goes really quick. I grinned in response. Interesting. What do you mean scary? Multiple facial piercings and extensive tattoos? Well, that's one definition, I suppose. What is your definition? But he ignored my question and asked me another. You could tell, wait there, that's a really interesting thing. Multiple facial piercings and extensive tattoos. Scary. Wow, it's definitely maybe retaking a dig at Miami Inc. because this would have been around the same time. She's like, no, the scary people. Kat Von D being like, oh, let me just do like a teddy bear. I decided to go for the truth. I think you could. Sorry. Do you think that I could be scary? He raised one eyebrow. I thought for a moment whether in the truth or lie would go better, and I decided to go with the truth. I think you could be if you wanted to. He dragged you to his car unwillingly. I think the truth is, yes, Edward, you nutter. Are you frightened of me now? No, I answered too quickly. The smile returned. So, now you're going to tell me about your family? It's got to be much more interesting than mine. He was instantly curious. What do you want to know? We have literally just like dropped that little incident. She's like, everything's fine. She's like, oh, Clay de Lune's in the background. Everything's grand. That's what I need. She's had a lemonade. She's got Clay de Lune. She's grand. What do you want to know? The Cullens adopted you, I verified? Yes. I verified, wouldn't you? Oh, look at how that works. What happened to your parents? They died many years ago. His tone was matter of fact. I am sorry, I mumbled. I don't care. I don't really remember them that clearly. Carlisle and Esme have been my parents. Oh, sorry. Carlisle and Esme have been my parents for a long time now. Do you love them? Yes. I couldn't imagine two more perfect people. You're very lucky. I know I am. Smug. And your brother and sister? He glanced at the clock on the dashboard. My brother and sister, Jasper and Rosalie for that matter, are going to be quite upset. They have to stand in the rain waiting for me. Oh, sorry, I guess you have to go. I didn't want to get out of the car because he'll drag you back in. And you probably want your truck back before Chief Swan gets home, so you don't have to tell him about the biology incident. He grinned at me. I'm sure he's already heard there are no secrets in Forks. I laughed. He laughed. There was an edge to his laughter. There's always an edge. Sorry. I don't. I just don't. There's loads of comments I do, but I've not even read them because I'm so engrossed and disengaged. I'm sure he's already heard there's no secrets of Forks. Have fun at the beach. Good weather for sunbathing. He glanced out at the rain. Ooh, pathetic fallacy. Bit of like juxtaposition there. Wow, well done. Won't I see you tomorrow? No. Emmett and I are going to the... I started the weekend early. What are you going to do? We're going to be hiking in the Goat Rocks Wilderness, just south of Rainier. She didn't ask for a life story, mate. Just hiking would have done the job. I remember Charlie had said the Cullens went camping frequently. Oh, yeah, because we had that, like, Brokeback Mountain where Charlie's like, wow, Edward Cullen's dad. What a hunk of meat. Oh, well, have fun. I sound and try enthusiastic. I try to sound enthusiastic, Bella. Maybe we're more like, maybe we're a bit like yin and yang. But by yin and yang, I mean yin yang, gang gang. I can't believe I said that seriously. Someone cancel me already, please. Don't be offended. You see, I said gang gang. Who am I? I'm 28. I'm Welsh. I can't get away with saying gang gang. Gang gang. T Wolf. Don't be offended. You seem to be one of the people who just attract accidents like a magnet to try not to fall into the ocean. Oh, the helplessness faded as he spoke. I glared at him. I'll see what I can do. Oh my god. I snapped and jumped out of the rain. I slammed the door behind me with excessive force. He was still smiling as he drove away. The end. We'll use this as a bookmark. So what happened there? She fainted of blood, and then they passively aggressively said they'll see each other. Gang gang. See you later. I might do a later one tonight. I might do chapter 6. I might just get rid of it like later on this evening. So I'll see you then, Team Wolf. When I really want the wolf to turn up, like I want like some action to happen, and Team Wolf's gonna like deliver. It's gonna be great. Oh,